everyone, as we head towards game number 4. And since Hysterics has stacked it, let me ask you, Lyric, do you think this is going to game 5? How do you think this one's going to finish off?
I don't want to like kill the spirits and all, but we're gonna 3-1 top Esports.
This guy's a non-believer. I reckon JDG have got this next one. I think we're going to go to game 5. But I have to say, coming into this draft once more, these games are so damn close. Yep. It doesn't feel like either team is finding massive advantages in the draft. Or if they are, the other team is figuring out ways to negate them in game.
Exactly. These games have been all super close, whether it was game 1 with JDG with the early lead, top Esports the reverse game 2. Things like this we just keep seeing from series to series. 6-7 kills at level 1 so many times. Yeah. I'm just excited to see what happens in the first 3 minutes next game.
I just hope that JDG are on the red side again, because that's when we get all of the level 1 action. It is also when we get the top Esports wins, though. So maybe we need JDG on the blue side this time if we want 5 games for ourselves. But let's talk about these mid laners for a second, because both Knight and Yagao are reaching a level that it's so unbelievable. Knight looking exceptional on this Lucian. We saw, obviously, the MVP. His scoreline was insane at the end of that game. But Yagao as well on this Zoe, during those team fights, had so many clutch moments to shut down Jaculov and get his team on the board. But we're going into Champ Select here, and it is going to be top Esports on the red side as JDG continue to ban this Quinn.
Yeah, and JDG once again trying to threaten and force in either a Renekton ban or trying to get themselves out Renekton first pick.
We'll see what top Esports are going to do. They are going to ban this Renekton this time around. Caitlyn's still banned by JDG on the blue side. This time around, they're changing tact here and getting Kanavi a Graves in the jungle.
Interesting that they just decide to give up on the Nidalee, which they've been going back towards every game. But of course, this is one of the shared champions between both Kanavi and Karsa does quite well, and I like to pick up.
So now over to the side of top Esports, and this could now be the Ashe for Jaculov, which is something he's been kind of denied across the course of this series. Is Ezreal also available, but we'll stick towards the Ashe here instead of Loken having that one.
JDG have picked it up all 3 games. Now I wonder if TS will go towards something, maybe like a set for Karsa. We did see them play that in the first game, but it was for Knight. Of course, the other thing left open is they could go towards that Nidalee themselves.
They could even go towards something like a Zoe pick in that mid lane that has been so damn strong, and maybe just a Lucian, blind pick for the solo lane.
I think Knight had a good time. And we need to remember, Knight blind picked it last game.
That's
Yagao
true.
picked Zoe into the Lucian, and it looks like we're going to get that potentially once again.
I mean, let's be honest. In terms of the 1v1, Yagao did fine in that mid lane, so he's happy to go into that matchup once again. Yagao, fantastic on the Zoe. Knight showing us he's fantastic on this Lucian as well. And now Loken is going to play the opposite side of this matchup that we're seeing time and time again.
And now I want to see where top Esports go at jungle, because you wouldn't expect them to need to show either of their other roles. The enemy's already picked jungle. You should pick jungle yourselves. But they need an AP jungler once again. Do we see Karsa default to the Gragas or the Nidalee that we talked about?
I mean, the thing with Karsa is he's such a veteran player that pretty much every jungler in the game he has played professionally at some point over his career. The Nidalee is going to be locked in. This is a comfort from times of old, but it's also something he's played a bunch during the split as well.
Yeah, he's played it 3 times during the split, but this is a very traditional Flash Wolves Karsa pick. He played it a ton over in the LMS when he was dominating that region. You know, breaking people like my heart, destroying my expectations, but that's for another day. Overall, we see TS going back to what gave them success last game.
And look at the respect towards the top side here. The ban on this Camille from Zoom, it looked amazing in game number 2, and top Esports do not want to have to deal with that one again. On the opposite side, though, JDG similarly respecting 369 with a ban on the Jace.
And I'm interested to see where supports go this time around, because we've seen TS to like to go towards their top lane counter pick. So do you try and deny Lumao something like the Leona, which has been, you know, one of his go-tos in this series?
That's going to be one of the big questions. Set banned away by top Esports, and obviously they'll have the next pick of the litter as well. The JDG now have to make one last ban. It could go on to someone like you, Yanjin.
You could even just go towards the Braum again, now that I'm thinking about it. You have the Ashe, which, you know, pairs quite well. You have the Lucian passive, which we talked about last game. There's a ton of, like, siege potential coming out from JDG side with the Jhin ultimate with the Zoe.
So 369 trying to be removed from the game here as JDG put more bans on towards him. You mentioned the Braum pick. This is something Yuyanj is exceptionally comfortable on. Looked amazing in the last game on this pick. Was doing so much work to completely deny specifically Yagao when it came to those Unbreakables to stop any follow-ups on Trouble Bubbles. But instead, they're going to lock in the Monkey King for that top lane.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising, and now I want to see what JDG's answers. They do have an AD jungler if they did want to go towards the Mordekaiser this time around. The only other thing that we typically see picked into Wukong in the LPL is something like the Jax, but that is actually a counter.
I'm waiting. I'm not going to say anything until that one is locked in because we have a lot of last-second swaps. But there we have it, Malphite locked in. And I have to assume that's going to the top lane for Zoom.
Yeah, this has been something that we've seen picked into Wukong in other and smaller regions. You have a pretty solid laning phase. I wonder if he will go the Comet route and go for that more poke-style Malphite, going, getting a bit of mana as well in there from your runes. And then this is a bit of a takeaway, but also it has been one of Lumao's best. Okay, okay, Munchables.
Baited and outsmarted.
This is finals. This is spring finals MVP Lumao.
This is the pick that got him that MVP
exactly.
as well. This is the pick that every time you look at a JDG highlight, it is Lumao setting things up on the pod. Usually it would be Zoom following up on the Ornn, but Top Esports not having any of that. And now this Nautilus that has been banned away so many times in this series is going to go through. Nyanja finds himself that hard engaged in the bottom side, but man, we got a Malphite in the top lane from Zoom. He has himself that tank, and we have Lumao with the Tempered Fates to set everything up.
And the thing is, when we look at JDG, right, they have a very standard teamfight composition. When you see Malphite, it's all about those mid and late game teamfight ultimates that are going to come out. The nice thing as well is they have triple AD threats, right? They have double AD carry with a Wukong, so you're going to be able to itemize quite nicely into armor and get so much value out of that. And then you're just going to be playing this nice frontline role for your Zoe, Graves, and Jhin. You also have long-range engage coming out from the board as well, so all of your bases for JDG are covered.
Yeah, just look at the amount of follow-up in the long-range department as well, with a Zoe there, with Curtain Call available coming out in that bottom side. I'm excited for what we see here, and it feels like JDG really bringing out some off-the-wall strategies for themselves in these drafts for finals.
It's been nice to see because this shows a very well-coached team and a very well-prepared team. They obviously had a lot of time off because they had to buy all the way into the semifinals, but it's been nice to see them use it very diligently, and even moving over to TES. They've brought out a lot of interesting compositions as well.
I mean, Gragas in the jungle in the last game. It's certainly been a bit of a weird series, and now we have Zoom on the Malphite. He's been a bit of a mountain in that top lane in the past, and now he's going to personify that in game number 4. But Knight versus Yagao, once again, they have been impeccable in this mid lane, and I cannot wait to watch this matchup once more. But the two power farming junglers come through for Kanavi and Karsa once again. But everything on the line now. Top Esports on the brink of proving themselves in the LPL.
滔博加油！滔博加油 ！JDG 加油 ！JDG 加油！
We're ready to get into game number 4 here. Our canned crowd is going ballistic for our two teams here. And I have to say, with everything on the line, Top Esports not deterred here. They're going to go for some level 1 shenanigans as they went and got some wards down. In that bottom side, you can see the ward in the tri-brush there. And now they're going to go and defend their top side as well. But 369 spotted on a ward himself.
Yeah, and an interesting to note with this top side is I want to talk a bit more about this Malphite. We do see him going for the grass sprout, so obviously going to index into that full tank Malphite, which makes sense. We talked about the triple AD threat coming out from Top Esports. And an important thing to remember with Malphite is his W passive gives him bonus armor, and when you have the passive shield up, that armor is actually tripled. So he's going to be getting a ton of value. Sure, 369 ultimate later on gives armor shred.
Hang on, we got a level 1 on our hands. Lumao's going to force them to back away though. New Yanja now find his way out of the play. Stun doesn't quite come out. Just a bit of extra damage from Lumao. But yeah, one extra thing as well to bear in mind with the Malphite is he does scale off of his damage when it comes to armor as well.
And even his passive shield comes off of his HP, so again, he's one of the best tanks you can get when you just want the value out of those stats. Obviously, though, quite one-dimensional in playstyle.
Very much a one-dimensional playstyle. He's going to get himself some Gress procs to start things off. You can see his runes there in case you're looking to become a Malphite player in the top side yourself. But I'm excited to see what Zoom can do once it gets to those team fights. Because let's be honest, Malphite, not exactly a lane dominant pick.
No, and even against a Wukong, to where Wukong is one of the best level 1 top laners.
Right, we got a level 2 all-in coming out from Top Esports. The exhaust is going to do a lot to stop JackeyLove getting the kill, but that is 3 summoners burnt on the side of JDG.
This shows the dominance that the TS bot lane have been showing in laning phase recently. Yuanja looking so potent on these hook champions, and you know, they want another round. They want to look for it again.
Lumao's got to be real careful. He is out of mana, he is out of summoners. Yuanja finds that hook. That is a dead Bard right there, but both of our junglers, no splitting of the map this time around. They're both moving towards this top side like we expect them to.
And especially for the side of Karsa, where you do have pushing top and mid lane, he should feel very comfortable to be able to take this Scuttle Crab. So we definitely want to see Knight and 369, you know, leaning over, interacting with their jungler.
Yaga just desperately trying to clear these minions underneath the wave as Knight has the priority to move up out of the lane, which means Karsa will be the one to grab that Rift Scuttle that you're talking about here. And Kanavi just going to help shove out in this mid lane. He's maybe going to grab a CS or 2 himself as well, as he does it in classic Graves fashion.
So,
and with that lane pushed out, here we go. Knight trying to make the play. Javelin dodge from, though. And Karsa just going to answer that mid pressure.
So what Kanavi was doing was showing in mid, pushing out that wave so he could try and secure the bot side Scuttle Crab for himself, because his bot lane's getting pushed in. He needs Yagao to have that freedom to move. But TS realized that JackeyLove and Yuanja move first to take it themselves, and then Karsa showing in mid as a response to him, hey, you know, you aren't going for that Scuttle Crab. Going to be able to secure that both for the side of Top Esports.
This is the biggest thing that we always praise Top Esports and specifically Karsa for, is reading the opponents and trying to deny their win conditions. Karsa doesn't have to win the lanes. His laners will do that by themselves. All he has to do is stop Kanavi from getting control, doing it beautifully to start our game off.
The thing for TS, though, is they have the winning mid lane matchup once again. They have this early winning top side. They have the Ashe coming out in the bot lane. It once again spells out to us wanting to see these early aggressive moves. But it's Kanavi actually not even going to run into Karsa at all.
They're not going to spot each other this time. Kanavi gets away with his invade. We've seen a couple of questionable invades from Kanavi across the course of this series as Yagao finds himself an exhaust, which means he has an opportunity to trade pretty aggressively there and contest for that wave. But importantly, Kanavi gets the wolves, gets on out of there as well.
I want to see what Zoom comes back with for his first purchase. If he does want to just make his way towards something like early Ninja Tabbies. Oh, go straight towards the Thorn Mail, so wanting to come out, the Bramble Vest, I'm sorry, wanting to come out extremely ahead in these trades, going to really deny 369 from wanting to look for those all-ins.
Yeah, extra bit of bonus damage coming out from the passive on that one, but importantly as well, stacking that armor. Yuanja gets his recall denied here by Loken. And I am curious to look towards this bottom lane once we get beyond the level 6 mark, because it has been JackeyLove on this Jhin throughout the series, and Jhin regularly doesn't really feel like the primary carry of a team composition, very much a utility AD carry. I'm excited to see what Loken can do, but also what JackeyLove can do now that he's on the Ashe.
I expect him to look in different places to where obviously we have the Bard for JDG side, so I'm going to want to see Lumao interact more with the map once he gets that Tempered Fade and, you know, try to set up someone like Yagao or Kanavi on the opposite side. For TS, I want to see them make a play in the bot lane with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Zoom. He's hit level 6. He's got his jungler nearby, and 369 knows it. There is no way he can step up to this wave.
He just needs to accept. We even see Karsa is on the bottom half of the map. Okay.
My God, there we go. Unstoppable force in, and that's already 369's health bar depleted. Flash still available as Kanavi goes in. He's going to be able to easily finish off First Blood.
And sadly, 369 didn't have the patience to wait for that wave near his turret. I guess regardless, he would have gotten dove. Like, there was no win in that situation when your jungle is on the bottom side, so...
The only way you win that situation is you flash the Malphite ult, and it has to be said, even at a pro level, that can be very difficult. Kanavi just about got his grab there.
And we even see he's going to go towards the first item Tiamat, knowing, hey, like, I don't really want to interact in the lane. It's about me just being able to quickly clear these minions and back off. Play more of a team role.
And I have to say, when we talk about this bottom side of the map, we're already talking about the Ashe pick for JackeyLove. When you bring Malphite into that equation, JackeyLove is going to have to be on point with his flashes in the later stages of this game, because being able to dodge that Malphite ultimate is going to be the difference between him living and dying during these skirmishes. With Kanavi, with Yagao, with Loken, the damage is easily there to follow up. But importantly, Tempered Fate into an Unstoppable Force. That's a combo to be feared, Lyric.
This is why we set up that TS really want to start getting their comp ahead. And sure, I actually don't think it's unplayable in the late game. They definitely have some tools. We saw last game, if Knight can pull off the execution on the Lucian, if 369 can find a flank. But JDG's comp to me is just way more straightforward into what TS have drafted. And again, a Tempered Fate into a Malphite ultimate. You're not going to be able to kill that Malphite once he stacks all that armor. You have all the bursts coming out from JDG's comp. It doesn't matter that, 369 will be a bit beefy, that you Yanja as well, because you can take out the primary carries.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom was almost unkillable in that last game, and he's looking to repeat that performance, maybe even to a greater extent, because Carson's going to be the only one doing any damage to him, and Nidalee not exactly there for the sustained damage during these skirmishes. Starting off this Rift Herald, though, as you can see the bottom lane from Top Esports moving up.
And this is interesting because this also shows that they do feel the pressure to accelerate the pace of the game, because TS are one of our teams who almost never rotate their bottom lane to Herald. We typically see JackeyLove stay in lane, and it's only you Yanja making that rotation, so realizing, hey, we need to secure this for ourselves, we need to start breaking down structures around the map.
And it does give Loken and Luma an opportunity here to grab some plates for themselves in the bottom side to try and find a bit of an advantage, because obviously they've started the game off at a bit of a deficit. Ashe exceptionally strong during the laning phase, and Nautilus with the hard engage as well. It's going to be difficult to contest waves.
Yeah, and really interesting that we saw JackeyLove pick up the mid wave so they can get a nice clean reset, and Knight being the one to say, okay, I will go answer the spot side wave.
And this is something we've seen out of Knight in the last game as well, where it feels like often on the back of these map plays, he's on cleanup duty. We saw him answering in the top side last game, now answering on the bottom side. Knight is there to mop up as much farm as possible so that when we do get to these mid-game fights, he can be the primary carry for the squad.
Now I'm looking at where TS will use their Herald, because they haven't really gotten plates down anywhere other than mid lane, so that could be an option. They can try and use it as the distraction tool that we've seen a lot throughout the split, where you drop the Herald, it forces the enemy to react, and you turn force towards Dragon. They did get on the map first, so they at least should be able to get the scuttle down and get a bit of shallow vision.
We'll get some shallow vision. They'll get control of the Dragon for now, but I don't know whether Top Esports will be confident enough to just start this Dragon off. Maybe Carson could make a play somewhere with the Herald to try and find themselves priority onto this Dragon, but JDG immediately answer, trying to deny some of that vision and get control of the river themselves. So it's going to be an even matchup there. And I want to quickly talk about a dream that a player over in Europe once had, Lyric.
Yep.
Caps, back in 2019 spring, he had a dream that JDG were going to make a miracle run and make it to MSI, and he was damn close. They made it to the finals, but they fell short. But I believe that Caps' dream, it was actually about 2020. Now they are going to make it to that international tournament. They are going to make the run. But Caps' dream ended in a tournament win for JDG. And maybe he was just ahead of his time.
Well, exactly. I mean, we even saw it in spring, right? Because it did actually happen in spring of this year. The unfortunate thing was there was actually just no MSI for him to go up and face him at. But I agree, this is the best time. We've said it many times that JDG are the best team in the LPL. They're just sadly up against the best players in the LPL.
And Top Esports have been proving that in this series, especially Knight in the mid lane. JackeyLove has had his work cut out because it feels like in the fights, it's all about shutting him down. But Zoom takes a spear. Over they go, but Zoom just locks him up. He's still pretty healthy, and now Kanavi enters the play as well. Honestly, I feel like that favored JDG.
Even with no MR, right? I expected that to do way more, but Zoom, just this massive front line, only leaving the Balmy Cinder for the HP. TS forced off right away. Heck, Karsa forced to flash, actually.
This is the best thing about playing Malphite in the top lane. Unless you really, really overextend, it's kind of hard to die, honestly. Like, you just build resistances for days, you're happy to tank him, you're against an almost full AD composition. This is the Malphite dream.
In 6 months, we're going to be asking ourselves, where were you when Malphite forced us to a Game 5 in the final?
We'll have to see. Because Karsa does want to shut him down. Zoom still has his flash available. Karsa not going to finish off his recall, but Zoom, full respect here. He's just going to chill under his tower.
And I mean, 369 doesn't have his ultimate. Looks like they're trying to set up Herald here.
I see. So down comes the Herald from Karsa. They were waiting until they saw Kanavi elsewhere on the map. He showed on one of those wards as he moved over to the Krugs. and it means that Top Esports can begin this play. They're not going to try and go for a dive. This is a Malphite we're talking about. You don't get to dive Malphite. He's not going to die. And so they just go for the 2 plates in the top side.
We already mentioned how they didn't really have plates anywhere else. They got 1 plate in mid lane. It's pretty surprising to me that they just decided to drop it top. We even saw that 369 was able to clear the wave quite quickly with the Tiamat, so even potentially like hovering to a different side of the map and looking elsewhere.
It feels to me that Top Esports were just saying, look, it's going to be very difficult to force a play mid or bot side. Like, there's going to be an answer from JDG. They probably don't care that much about the first 2 plays on the top side. And Herald was going to time out at some point.
Yep, and you know, now we're transitioning to items. We see that Knight does have the Blade of the Rune King on board for him. Yagao not exactly at that loot. It's not really the only one on that first item spike, so TS going to rely on him once again.
So now we're in a very, very quiet game number 4. And to be honest, when I look at these 2 teams, this is kind of what I was expecting coming into the series across the board. Like, I wasn't expecting the level 1 action that we saw in Game 1 and Game 3. You're shaking your head at me here, Lyric.
1 kill in 13 minutes. What is this, Munchables?
Maybe not quite this quiet, but like when you think of JDG, they are not an early game dominant team. They are a team that wants to play around the mid game, play around these dragon fights. And as we head towards this second dragon, like, look how slow the second dragon is coming in. There is sheer respect coming out from Top Esports when it comes to how they have to play this early.
And it's the exact opposite of how they usually play, because sure, JDG are usually slow. They were actually 7 out of 18, you know, our 8 teams in playoffs and champion kills per minute. But Top Esports were first.
Zoom just says, sod your Rift Herald. I'm a Malphite. I am a tower. I can 1v1 this tower any day of the week. Kanavi, though, he's looking for an invade for himself here. Casa moves onto the Krugs. Kanavi's looking to jump on over. I don't know if he knows Casa's here. He's going to look for the play. He wants a 1v1 for himself because 369 is stuck under his tower right now. Zoom moves over to help out. They could maybe go for a dive. Turret plates have fallen.
Oh, God. Zoom is ultimate.
Zoom certainly does. They're not going to pull the trigger on the play just yet. Caster sticking around. You can see Yuyanja on the mini-map is moving over. The scouting coming out from Jackie Love with the Hawk shot as well. In the meantime, Loken and Lumao still very much firmly staying in that bottom side of the map.
Herald is coming up, so I feel like JDG were trying to set up that potential play. But as you pointed out, Yuyanja's already here, and Zoom is potentially overstayed.
Unstoppable Force might have to be used defensively here. Gets out of the play, still has his flash available. And once again, Malphite's kind of hard to dive.
Yeah, I mean, he lost about 20% of his HP in that play, though only 1 spear hitting on top of 369's ultimate.
Oh, Knight has to cleanse here, dodges away from the paddle start to follow. That is a big cooldown, though. If Yagao can find himself another bubble, Knight could be in serious trouble. Culling going down as well. Just as the Herald spawns, you can see Loken moving up to the play. This is surely a JDG Herald.
Exactly. We already see Karsa making his way towards that bottom side dragon, so they're going to try and get the fast track on that, get some vision set down first. And Jackie looking to get a bit of free time with the spot lane turret.
So it's going to be a trade across the board here. I don't know if Jackie Love will be able to finish that turret necessarily. Not enough minions for now, and you can see Loken and Lumao moving back into that bottom lane. But in the meantime, Karsa, he's going to get some time to get onto this dragon. It's an Infernal as the second one of the game here. Knight moves over, and this will be 1 dragon apiece. So, similarly to last game, we head just past the 15-minute mark with very even scoreboards.
Munchables, can you imagine a Malphite with triple Mountain Drake?
Oh no. Oh god, I'm afraid. That is a terrifying thought, Lyric. And you know what? Zoom, he is rubbing his hands together. He can't believe the value he's going to get.
I mean, to be fair, it also equally works against JDG's comp when you do have this Jhin on the opposite side. If you get all of those resistances onto the Wukong and the Nautilus, so those Drakes can have a ton of value this game.
Yeah, but Wukong is not exactly going to build full armor this game, so
True.
I definitely feel like JDG get the better end of that stick, but it's more about who gets the dragons, because no one's got any mountains just yet. We'll see if it's JDG to be the ones to grab that. Loken and Lumao could be in trouble, though. Flash still available, but the burst damage there. Jackie Love jumps in to secure the kill.
Zoom.
Now Zoom makes a play off the backside of this one. Doesn't find the knock-up, though. but he is completely and utterly invincible, so he's happy to walk away from this one. This will be a tower going the way of top esports now as they move underneath the tower. Loken, he ain't invincible. 369 flash for this one. Caster's there to answer, and the Monkey's in trouble on this one, but gets a knock up onto Yagao. In the meantime, Zoom's gone down underneath the tower. 369 will fall in the end, but Knight flashing forwards with the Cullen. Kanavi will fall. Yagao's getting chased down by Yuyanja, and everything comes up top.
Exactly. Top Esports finding all the crucial kills. Zoom completely flopping his ultimate. Once again, not exactly looking too practiced on the Malphite. Can't blame him. But TES looking extremely practiced as a team. Nice engage coming out from Jackie Love. We actually talked about it 15 minutes ago. We want to see them making plays on the bot side with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Nice roam coming down from Knight. Nice TP from 369. And they're starting to build up this gold lead that we expected to see.
And watching Jackie Love play when he is feeling good is something to behold. Let's take another look at this engage.
That turned into like, oh, Zoom to, oh, Zoom really quickly. They still keep it going. They already got the Bard kill to start it off. We see that Yagao and Kanavi on their way to answer. 369 goes in to force the Loken flash. Then goes into a bit of a dicey situation. Does get the ult, returns back in for the second part of it. Knight goes forward onto Kanavi. He trusts Yuyanja to be able to clean up that kill on the opposite side. Of course, Zoom went down in the meantime. And TES, you know, feeling good.
Yeah, they've managed to find themselves a 1,000 gold lead now off the back of that one. So still an incredibly even game despite that fight going so heavily in their favor. And it just feels so good to see Jackie Love flashing forward in these plays to make things happen for his team, because Jackie Love has always been a player that will play on the knife's edge, that will be the confident player to flash on forwards. Sometimes, and especially halfway through this split, it felt like he was doing it maybe too aggressively. Tempered Fate catches onto Karsa. Can they follow up is the question. Zoom is here, locked up by Yuyanja.
Honestly, that was a great dredge line from Yuyanja to make sure that Zoom couldn't keep going on the Karsa.
Yeah, and this is the combo that we talked about. The Tempered Fate into Unstoppable Force, but Yuyanja, knowing it's coming, gets the CC onto Zoom, and it means Karsa can get out of it.
Yeah, and had Lumao maybe been able to hit a 2 or 3-man Tempered Fate, maybe we could have seen the immediate ultimate coming out from Zoom, but I'm sure not wanting to waste that only on Karsa. And now Knight going to be able to pick up an objective on the opposite side of the map. Just going to even it out, 2 for 2.
Just take a second here, Lyric, and just look at how much armor Zoom has right now. He already has a Sunfire Cave, he's got a Warden's Mail, he's got a Bramble Vest, he's got Ninja Tabby. Karsa is the only one that is going to do damage to Zoom across this game. And it's only going to get worse.
I love his absolute indifference to Karsa. Doesn't even acknowledge his existence. Didn't acknowledge it in the last play. He could have killed him if he wanted to. Could have wasted his ultimate, but...
You know, I'm calling him invincible. He did go down in that last play. But let's bear in mind that there were 3 people wailing on him for a good, like, 20 seconds as the tower went down. It felt like they had to deal with 2 turrets there.
Yes, it did, and the game going to slow down once again. Of course, Baron is up now, and Dragon is coming up in 40 seconds, so we're seeing those resets come out from TS first, which means they should be the team that's able to control vision. Luckily for JDG, they have a massive front line who doesn't mind face checking, and Lumao's ultimate is actually about to be up in like 5 seconds.
Dragon up in 30 seconds, and we're talking about this Malphite, his big impactful ultimate. Same can be said for 369. He may not be tanky, but he can definitely finish off Loken if he can find a good flank and get a good Cyclone off. So much of these team fights is going to be down to the top lanes.
I honestly feel like for top esports, it's down to just not grouping up too closely and sidestepping that Malphite ultimate, because I'd much rather see 369 in a flanking position.
Oh, Jackie Love has been caught. He doesn't have flash available. The ult comes out too early, but it doesn't matter for now as Carson jumps in. Has to turn himself golden. Knight doesn't do anything to Zoom. Yagao gets another kill, and now the magical journey to chase this one down. 369 with a knock up onto Lumao. Knight's trying to finish off some kills, but Yagao dodges everything here. 369 will finally fall. JDG get low, but they get themselves a clean fight.
I love how Zoom can totally flop his ultimate, and they still decisively take the fight. This is Mountain Drake #1 for the side of JDG, and it looks like it happened. It looks like Malphite's bringing us to a final.
And you know what? This Blade of the Rune King doesn't do anything, man. You saw Knight just unloading into Zoom. Let's take another look, because Jackie Love, this is not a good place to get caught.
Yeah, and despite the Malphite ult not hitting, realistically, he still has nowhere to go. His front line's not there to tank for him. He goes down very quickly. Karsa then was in a bit of an awkward place. I think he felt pressured from where JackeyLove was to try to go in and, you know, create a bit of pressure, but nothing he can do, gets taken down right away. 3-6-9 once again. They're not in a great position, decides to go in, buys time, allowing people like Knight to get away. But I honestly feel like the 3-man core of TS probably could have gotten away scot-free.
Yeah, maybe should have just disengaged immediately from the back of that. Like, just get as many people as you can out. That's a trouble bubble, but Yuyanja with a nice little dredge line gets himself safe. Knight as well, just about dodging away from a bind in there. And we are going to see this team now grouping up.
697.
Oh my God.
697
Oh my
armor
Lord.
on the Malphite with his passive up.
What do you do?
You pray.
He's invincible. He's actually honestly unkillable. It's only Caster that can hurt him. And let's be honest, Nidalee is not exactly a tank buster anyway.
I do want to say we were giving the award of like fall or play of the series to Karsa's Graves ultimate, but I feel like it now just goes to Zoom just for picking Malphite.
Even though he flopped the ult, I just love that watching that replay, he just walks at Knight casually like, yeah, what are you going to do about it, buddy?
Every ult, but they can't do anything against him.
He hit one ult in the brush in top lane. It didn't lead to anything, but he hit it.
It definitely hit it. I mean, the first kill as well.
One thing I will say is Malphite, he's kind of like a Blitzcrank kind of champion where it's not about hitting every ult, it's about hitting the ult. It's about hitting that one ultimate that wins you the game. He's just going to 1v1 Karsa right now. Look at the damage out of Zoom. Karsa just has to try and flee from the play. This 369 might have the damage to do anything. No, this is an easy double for Logan, who just sweeps up after Zoom's hard work.
He doesn't even have MR. He's all armor.
This is terrifying. Now Kanavi forced to flash. Arrow misses from JackeyLove. TP comes out from Zoom here. It was cancelled somehow.
The arrow. Wait, did the arrow go all the way through the map?
No way.
It must have been. What else could cancel it?
Oh my God, JackeyLove's missed arrow hit Zoom in the base. That is bonkers.
I hope we get a replay. There's nothing else that could be, right?
Well, we don't have time for a replay right now, Lyric, because Baron has been sorted by JDG. They're doing a top esports kind of Baron right here, but they had the damage to do it. Karsa only just respawning, 369 nowhere near, and top esports, they have no way to contest.
I mean, look at Knight. He's on the complete opposite side of the map. We see 369 TP top to catch the wave, and I honestly can't believe. Okay, it was the arrow. I'm glad we got confirmation. There was nothing else it possibly could have been.
Are we watching JackeyLove or are we watching Prey right now? I can't tell. Like, it's difficult for me to tell with a cross-map ult like that.
You know, with that play, I just want to confirm, best AD carry in the world by far.
Totally
planned.
Totally. He wasn't even looking at Kanavi. He didn't even know Kanavi. He was looking to the base. Predicted the TP. Genius. On a serious note, though, as we move back towards the mid lane here, let's recap where we're at in this game, because JDG, as we've hit the mid game, have started to build themselves at least 3,000 gold up on the scoreboard right now. And another dragon is spawning in a minute and a half. And this is usually where JDG are the kind of team that will either recall early or they'll stick around a little longer than usual and look for some picks.
My problem with going forward is I honestly don't know how TS's comp finds an advantage or finds a way back into the game. Like, it feels like they're relying on JDG to overstep, but guess what? If Zoom is the one overstepping, if Zoom is the one walking forward, it doesn't mean anything. It's just baiting yourself.
Zoom might as well be on Mundo right now. He goes where he pleases. There is no such thing as an overstep for Zoom. He could tank the Nexus towers at this point in the game. He's also now finally picking up some MR, so even Caster's not going to be able to kill him.
And now at this point, right, they have the Baron. They can just keep sieging up in the mid lane. They can even potentially set up for a dive. They even have the Tempered Fate coming out from Lumao.
Top esports are looking for the fight. 369 on the flank as Yuyanja tanks up JDG. Tempered Fate hits onto JackeyLove again. This time around, Zoom waits on the ultimate, gets the AD carry, but he's going to fall for himself as everybody jumps on board. And it's actually Top esports that win out the fight now. The escape from JDG, they only got one tower.
And we saw JDG cut two different ways, right? To where Zoom committed to JackeyLove, and it looks like the rest of the members got zoned off by 369 and weren't able to follow up. If JDG had taken it a bit slower, I don't even feel like Lumao necessarily needed the Tempered Fated JackeyLove, because TS were engaging onto them.
And I think there's something important to mention here. To all of the people in Twitch chat right now that have been spamming threes all game every time 369 went down, that fight right there has given him value in this game. If he cannot zone the rest of the team, JDG might have just won the game right then and there. But because of 369's play, Top esports are still in the game and they get themselves a dragon.
So 369 had a very dominant semifinal against Suning, like he completely outclassed Bin. And then in this final, he's had a lot of clutch moments. We see the Tempered Fate come out, they try to go forward, Jackie flashes away. And Knight and 369 actually doing a great job of zoning the other members out. They're not able to walk forward. And again, I feel like had they just been able to walk back as a unit, they might have even been able to turn onto 369 and Knight and then win out that way.
Yagao just missed a cannon. I'm just saying. Not a good sign. A worrying trend, if you will. But now we move towards the map once more, and we have a big old gold lead in that top side. An adaptive helm coming through for Zoom. And, you know, I'm talking about how he's invincible. He can die in these fights if he's hung out to dry by his team, if the rest of the team can't back up his engage. But importantly, JackieLove using both of his summoners in that last fight means if he's caught out again by Lu Mao, he won't be able to escape. That was a nice little trouble bubble through the minion wave.
And we're seeing a bit of a base race in a sense to where top esports group to get that tier 1 turret, but JDG know, hey, we have a bigger wave, we were pushing first, they can just keep going.
We're also just ahead as well, 3,000 gold in the lead right now and have the ability to blast through these towers. Top Esports will answer on the bottom side of the map here. Bear in mind, Yagao's not here just yet. 369 is in the mid lane and doesn't have his teleport available.
And JDG actually don't have a great way of sieging without Yagao here because, right, he is a lot of that, the trouble bubbles over the wall, the paddle stars. He's going to lead to 369 getting a turret.
Yeah, they also didn't have a minion wave. So once that first minion wave goes down, which Knight is easily able to clear alongside JackieLove, there's no way for them to actually continue the siege, and it means 369 does grab that turret.
And yeah, so far things are looking pretty clean. We're definitely going to wait for the next point for where next Drake is up, but going into game 4, you know, all cards on the table. We have the 700 armor Malphite on one side, 4K gold lead for them. But still, we've seen that TS are able to find these small windows to play through, especially with Knight and 369.
And here's the thing about this. We've talked a lot about this invincible Malphite in the top side. It's important to mention that just being tanky is not going to win you the game. The rest of the team has to be able to follow up. We need to see the rest of the squad now show up in these team fights. We've got 3 items on Loken on this Jin. This is the point in the game where Jin can really have an impact.
It feels like Loken has had a good game, despite the fact that we have been talking about Zoom. He's had a lot of great ultimates come out. He's been dishing out the damage. It's why he's been involved in 6 of the 7 kills. And like you said, he's going to need to keep stepping up. We already see JDG grouping towards the top side, getting the vision for the Baron that's about to come up.
I just want to see a final fight in this game where JackieLove gets caught by Zoom and we see Zoom drop a Feather Knight, just go full LEC on the situation. That would make this day just beautiful. But we are going to see now JDG group it up towards the top side of the map here to make a play on towards the final tier 2 the top esports have remaining. This will be the 7th tower of the game in favor of JDG, who, no matter if top esports won the last fight, are still very firmly in control of the map.
And the thing that's so sad is, realistically, there's really nothing JackieLove can even do this game if he doesn't have his flash up.
Trying to make a play onto 369, but JDG won't quite be able to close the gap on that one.
And going to Baron for their comp makes so much sense, because once again, they have such a great turn. Malphite ultimate, Bard ultimate coming out, the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles you can throw over the wall. It's not even necessarily about you getting the Baron. If top esports comes, top esports are dead.
Top esports aren't coming quick enough right now. The Baron is about to fall down 5,000, and Caster's locked up in a Tempered Fate. Lu Mao, you beautiful, beautiful man. JDG with an easy Baron take.
Doesn't even mess up the Bard ultimate on the way out. It's all so clean, Munchables.
It's
and
just gorgeous.
Dragon 50 seconds, everything's chaining together.
This is the kind of JDG that we know and love. This is the style of play where they choke out their opponents, deny everything, take control of the map, and snowball that into a win. 35 seconds now until this next mountain break.
You know, the team you're describing sounds like they could potentially be, you know, LPL champions.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a tall statement, because right now, they're 2-1 down in the finals.
Hey, but they are LPL champions.
They are LPL champions, currently. The top esports, they're looking to usurp the throne right now. They're still 2-1 up. And if there's anything I know about top esports, it's your gold lead can be damned. They are still going to make plays. They are still going to find opportunities in the game.
Well, not this opportunity, because 369 was there and he got the hell out of there, TPing to the opposite side. Going to try and get a turret in return, but ultimately it's just going to be a bit of gold back in your pocket.
And Zoom doesn't even have to TP. He's got Baron, so empowered recall. Let's get home guards out of the base. He can just charge straight up and answer the wave. So 369, I'm kind of surprised that he was so willing to TP.
Hey, he made Zoom miss like 3 minions munchables.
That's true. That's
I mean,
big advantage in this top lane, and you can see he's almost even in CS.
that's what, at this point in the game with how minion gold scales, it's like, what, like 90 gold or something?
Not even. Not even.
Not even.
Beautiful. Beautiful. 369. Rolling a 3 on this one. 3 on a D20, that is. With suboptimal TP, but now 2 Mountain Drakes. This Malphite is only getting bigger. This is only getting scarier for top esports. And we're getting to the point now where we need to see top esports making individual plays that we know them for.
That's an individual play that 369 is looking for.
It's the way that he's shown up in the past. Kanavi going to be able to zip away. The inhib has gone down, though. Top esports don't pull the trigger on the play, and now JDG rotate towards the top side. They've got 1 inhib, and they want some more to boot. This tower will fall like it's nothing right here as JDG just pushing their advantage. It's only a clone that got bubbled here. JDG with 2 inhibs. They might just keep going. They've still got 40 seconds of Baron.
And they have Tempered Fate available. They have the Malphite ult available. They have a lot of tools where they can go forward and force these fights. And Zoom doesn't care about anything. He's going to TP right in front of you. Recall right in front of him, sorry. TP back on the opposite side of the map.
Zoom now using his TP to get back onto the map here because the rest of the squad, they're not recalling. 20 seconds on this Baron, and JDG reckon that's just about enough time to try and get themselves a 3rd inhib. I don't know if they've got it in 15 seconds because this minion wave is going real slow.
And even Loki, 630 ADs, hitting like a truck.
That 4th shot is going to one-shot an AD carry. Kanavi, he's found 369. This flank ain't going to work out because Kanavi knew it was coming right here. He chases him away. In the meantime, Zoom has found Knight. We're going to game 5, ladies and gentlemen, because JDG are going to find this one. Zoom is completely invincible under the tower. Carson turns golden, but not all that glitters is gold right here. As now Jagular forced out of the play. Another double comes through for Yagao. And this is going to be the game.
And that was a white flag emote coming out from Lumao. Once again, bringing us to game 5.
And here we go. The rematch from spring, from our spring finals. It went to game 5 last time. And we're doing it all again in summer.
Where were you when Malphite brought us to a game 5? That's what I want you to remember in a year's time.
And the fact that he basically solo killed Knight at the end there. Because let's just remember, his damage scales with armor, and he just annihilated Knight underneath his tower.
I also love Lumao stretching, just like kind of making it look like, yeah, that was easy, boys.
I mean,
making sure Top Esports gets a look at him doing it.
He was playing Bard. If there's any champ that I assume Lumao doesn't really have to put effort into, it's Bard, because he's played this so many times and he looks so damn good on it.
I do want to say, though, there's a worrying trend going into game 5.
What is that?
Blue side has won every game.
Blue side has won every game. You're absolutely right. Top Esports very likely to select... Oh, hang on a second. I'm just going to stop where I'm talking here. Zoom on Malphite, building full tank, had the highest damage in the game, Lyric.
I mean, I expected that. You know, another day at the office, right?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Hey, I mean, we've seen things like Ornn. This is League of Legends.
This is League of Legends. That I cannot argue
Hey,
with. Zoom.
he had a Bramble vest.
This was something else.
A Sunfire cape.
Like, I'm no expert on Malphite in professional play, but Zoom played this amazingly. He was an absolute brick wall on the front line for JDG. And it was a brick wall that apparently can also mobilize and flatten carries.
You know, I just know and hope the LEC teams are watching this, you know, taking notes. You know, Bwippo and like Odo Omne are out there. They're learning and they're ready. They're ready for Zoom's Malphite.
Yeah, I mean, they've already been playing Malphite.
No. Doesn't matter what
I don't know if this is the shot we could take at LEC right now. They kind of did this before us.
You know, Shen sucks.
Got him, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to game 5, though, and my goodness, what a way.